Welcome to Between the Covers. I'm so glad you're joining us tonight. I'm Stephanie Larkin, author, book developer, publisher, and head penguin of Red Penguin Books. We're a publishing company working with authors of all genres. So whether you have a manuscript all ready to go and be published, or it's kind of still stuck in your head and it's been stuck there for, a decade or so, and you just want to get it out, unleash your inner author, and please visit us at redpenguinbooks.com. I would love to help get that book out of your head and onto paper where it belongs. A big shout out and thank you to Don Pablo Coffee, our sponsor for the evening. If you're going to be writing all night long, you're going to need some Don Pablo coffee to keep you up. And you got to write when the inspiration hits. So Don Pablo coffee, every coffee bean is individually selected. So it's a good cup of coffee, even at 3 in the morning. I'm so excited. We have a huge slate of fabulous guests tonight, running the gamut from children's books, nonfiction, fiction. You better stay tuned. Pour your own wine. Do it on a commercial, though. Don't miss out. First, let me introduce first-time authors of a fabulous book, Judie Cavanaugh and Jaime Troiano. Thank you for being here. Actually, now, Jamie's the author and you're the illustrator. You're our first illustrator on the show.
Wow.
You are. Cool. I am so excited. Well, before we get any further, I am going to we have membership cards because people ask us if this is a book club, and it is. It's a book club. Look, we have wine. It must be a book club.
Right.
We have wine. We have books. What more do you need for a book club? And if you would like to join Between the Covers, and you could read on the back all the benefits you get. Bobby, if we have a slide on how they could join Between the Covers Book Club, go to betweenthecoverstv.com. That's easy enough. If you go there, there's also all of our episodes. You can watch old episodes. If you want to link to any of our authors and buy their books, please do that. But also, sign up for our book club. You'll be getting book recommendations. You'll be getting our show schedule, free books, because there are often free books available, digital books, etc., and so forth. So please sign up at betweenthecovers.com. And if you're free on a Wednesday night and feel like a glass of wine, join us. We have a rollicking studio audience here. We have red, white, and water for those driving too far. So definitely come and join us at Between the Covers. Now, you are children's book authors, but yours is a very, very special book. But I've never had a children's author on either, and I'm so excited. So it kind of led me to thinking about my own kids, who are not that little anymore, but all of their favorite books. And I'm sure that there are favorite books that, like, we've all had certain books. So I did a little research to find out the most popular, most beloved, biggest-selling children's books of all time. Bobby, do we have that slide? Yeah, I'm sure you're going to recognize some of these. The Very Hungry Caterpillar, Guess How Much I Love You, Good Night Moon, Oh, the Places You'll Go, I'll Love You Forever, Where the Wild Things Are, The Giving Tree, and Brown Bear, What Do You See? According to Amazon, those are the biggest-selling children's books. Now, as a children's author and illustrator, did you have any particular inspirations? Did you have favorites? I don't know if you remember when you were a child that you had favorite books or that you've read to children. Any thoughts?
Out of that list over there, Love You Forever is definitely one that...
Really?
Yeah. Ever since I had my children, that's been a book that I've read to them, and I personally can't get through an entire book without crying.
Without crying.
It's very, it hit close to home. And
how old are your children now?
I have a 3.5-year-old daughter and a 10-month-old son. So they're still really little, little.
And you're reading to them every night?
Every night. We're doing our best. Some nights are better than others, but,
They have a lot of books.
They do. Too many books, but...
yeah, I know that feeling.
Yeah.
It's funny because mine are older than yours, so I was cleaning out the children's books, but the ones on this list, those were among the ones that I could not part with. No Dr. Seuss book left my house. I trust me on that. There was no way. And as an artist, now besides children's authors and artists,
Eric Carle is one of my favorites. So, I use literacy a lot when I'm teaching art in New Haven, where I teach in public schools. I almost brought Go Dogs Go.
Oh, really?
So, because that was such a favorite in our house that we had to buy another one because we broke the binding.
That's not a bad thing.
Well, that happens with children's books. You can
It does.
break the binding because
Yeah.
you're just opening it and closing it and opening
My
and closing
parents
it.
hated to read Dr. Seuss.
Really?
Yeah, but when I begged them.
Oh, but I love Dr. Seuss.
I know.
Oh my gosh. And do you know he was turned down by like 150 publishers?
Wow,
Can
did not
you
know that.
imagine? They thought, what is this? Blue hat, green hat, red hat, poof, or whatever.
Right, right. It
But-
was a
They're
bet,
everywhere
I
now.
think.
Oh, that
One-
book, The Cat in the Hat.
Yes.
The Green Eggs and Ham.
Yes, was
Green
a
Eggs
bet.
and Ham was a bet that his editor made. He said he could write a book using fewer than 50 words.
Correct.
And that was the bet with Green Eggs and Ham. I am, Sam. I said, I am, absolutely. And he won.
Yeah.
But yes, he was turned down. So all of you aspiring authors out there, they hated Dr. Seuss. You're in good company. So did you think about these other authors, or did you just sit down and be inspired?
I was inspired. My mom passed away about 13 years ago, and when I had my children, when I had my daughter, I wanted to find a way to connect my daughter and my mom in some way, and I was searching for a book, and I couldn't find a book that was really trying to drive home my point and what I really wanted to say. Even though I Love You Forever, they're very similar.
It is.
You know.
Yes, yes.
I just felt like I needed to create my own and at least be able to give that to my kids.
So it wasn't you wanting to write a children's book and looking for a theme. It was you had this need, and there was no book on the market that fulfilled the need.
Pretty much, yeah.
Wow.
And I just wanted, you know, the premise of the book, it's written in the perspective from my mother to my kids. So it's just something that I thought that she would want to share with them and say to them. And then, you know, Judie just made the whole book come to life.
Absolutely. Well, that's the hand of an artist. How did you two know each other?
We worked together.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, we were at the same school.
Yeah.
We worked together for about 5 years before I moved to a different school.
And we bonded over losing our moms. And so
Beautiful.
my mom's been gone about 22 years, my dad about 18. And even though I don't have children, I still think of them. I
course.
still feel like I see
course.
signs from them.
Of course.
So when Jamie called me, she just called me in August. This all happened so quickly.
Wow.
yeah.
Oh,
I
we're
know.
really in on the
Yeah.
ground
Yeah, it
floor.
just
I
happened.
love
Oh yeah,
that.
yeah.
very, very quickly.
I love
Very
that.
quickly, we
Yeah.
had a meeting in a coffee shop. Mm-hmm. She read me what she had. I bawled my eyes out,
Oh,
and I went home and started painting.
I love that. We are going to take a quick commercial break, and then you get to see this beautiful book. Be right back.
Me llaman Dan Pablo y hace más de 20 años me enamoré de una colombiana. Viajé a su país y conocí un estilo de café muy distinto, muy especial. Ahora tostamos cafés excelentes, con alturas y microclimas diferentes, resultado en una taza muy compleja y muy rica. Un sabor nuevo en el mundo. Fue un éxito. And I even got to keep the girl.
Do you have a book, either in your head or on your desk, just waiting to get out to anxious readers? Hi, I'm Stephanie Larkin, author, book developer, and head penguin at Red Penguin Books. We're a publishing company specializing in books of all genres and publishing in all formats, including digital, audible, and print books. From business books to romance, memoirs to mysteries, our authors have complete control over their books from start to print. We'll help get your book to booksellers all around. Major booksellers such as Amazon, Apple, Kobo, Walmart, even libraries and bookstores around the world. We believe in our authors. So call or email today to get your free publisher's packet to get started. Just visit us at redpenguinbooks.com and get your book out there and into the hands of your readers. At Red Penguin Books, you call all the shots. So call us today and turn your dreams into a reality. Welcome back. Welcome back to Between the Covers. We're here with author Jaime Troiano and her illustrator, Judie Cavanaugh, with this beautiful book they wrote together, Love from Above. A book that they wrote because they had such a yearning for something, a book that's not out there. I think we have a little slide that we have with a cover of the book and also your website. Yes. What is your website?
Butterflywingspublishing.com.
Butterflywingspublishing.com. There it is. So if you're looking for this book, you definitely want to go to butterflywingspublishing.com. And what a beautiful book it is. I know on the website you have some pictures, but there is nothing like seeing this in person. Absolutely gorgeous. Judie, tell me a little bit about the pictures. What medium were you using? What inspired you? Were these, I don't even know, is this watercolor, crayons?
So there's a little bit of craypa in there. There's a little watercolor.
Craypa?
Craypa. So they're oil pastels. Craypa is like a brand name, like
Oh,
Kleenex.
okay.
But they're oil pastels, so they're similar to crayons.
Oh, the crayons that look kind of soft.
Yes, yes. But that's
I know
the
the
vibrancy. That's
Oh,
where I got
yes.
the brightness.
Wow.
And then you can paint over them.
You can paint over those?
You can paint over them. And so that's where you can get some of those lines.
Wow. So there's craypa, there's oil paint. I see pencil.
Yes.
Is that true?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You
And
did it
then
all.
I did it all. And then one page, I think I sent you the slide, after being at Jamie's house and looking at the book all laid out, we realized that we were missing a page.
Oh, oops.
And so I quickly went home and
Whipped it out.
And I think it's my favorite page.
Which page is that?
I think it's the slide with the hands that I gave you.
Slide with the hands. I think we have that one. I know.
Yeah. And so that's actually collage.
Wow.
The hands are actually just notebook paper, and it's
Really?
collage. And then there's
Oh, I
acrylic.
can see that.
Yeah,
Here,
yeah. The
look at
lines on the
that.
paper,
With a lot of
pencil,
detail.
and some acrylic paint and some watercolor, because I had to finish it within like probably a day, and
Yeah.
then
We were
scan
short
it
on
and
time.
Wow.
scan it to Jamie or send it to Jamie. Yeah,
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that is so beautiful.
that's become my favorite page.
And that was the last one to
Yes.
be added. Isn't that a funny story?
Yes.
Now there was one other slide that you asked me to include. It was the one with the crib, I think.
That was the first one that I created.
Oh, so we have the first and the last.
Yes.
I think we have the first slide there. Yes, there it is. And that was first. Wow, we have the whole gamut.
Yes.
I like that. And it really came alive. I mean, did you ever imagine your words that you had?
I knew she would do an amazing job. I mean,
Oh.
just from knowing her and who she is as an artist and as a person, she would the natural choice for me.
And we really did have a team. So, I mean, we have a fabulous editor, Lorraine FICO White.
Oh, wonderful.
And
Fantastic.
She's
Yeah,
awesome. Hi, Lorraine.
Hi, Lorraine.
And,
Thank you, Lorraine.
And our graphic designer, Lori. And
Thank you, Lori.
And my mother's
kismet.
name was Lori. So it just was very. It was meant to be. just
Seriously, there were
Oh,
a lot
gosh,
of
all
things
of this
that
just
came together. I
came
just got
together.
chills. Yeah,
The way
Yeah.
it should.
yeah.
The way
Yeah.
it absolutely was.
And our
meant
web
to.
designer, Dee Dee.
Yep.
We really do have wonderful people.
It's like the
wonderful
Academy
friends.
Awards, they're thanking, and we'd like to thank all the people who made this possible. If they keep going, they're going to have the orchestra playing them all. Not only are you my first illustrator on the show, I think you're the first ones who are thanking the whole team. I'm loving this. Of course, now you're raising the bar. So now my next authors are thinking, God, I don't even know my editor's name.
Well, it's true. None of it
She's
would have
friends.
been possible.
We're friends with her.
Yeah, well, when
Yeah,
you're
we're all
friends and
over
it was a
yeah.
tight-knit group,
They're all over the country, but
Are
it just
they?
came
Wow.
together.
Yeah, everything worked out, and I believe at least my mother always wanted to have control over everything. So she's still working her magic.
Oh my
and
goodness!
her mom, and
I
you know,
love
it's
that.
all it's all coming together.
The two moms are up there, like over here. No, move that little to the left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I believe that.
Yeah.
I absolutely
We do
believe
too,
that.
yeah.
They're just in the other room looking over, saying, "No,
Yeah.
no." But for you two, they're saying, "Oh yes, yes, yes." They're saying, "Wow."
We're hoping.
Oh
Yeah.
God,
Don't
the
start
pride.
crying.
No, I
Don't
won't start crying.
Okay.
Or else I'm gonna have to pour you some more wine.
I'll have some more wine.
When in doubt, just keep having some more wine, some more wine. So this is just still since September. You said, I have this idea. Let's have some coffee or some wine. And next thing you
Yeah.
know, was it coffee or
Here
wine?
it is. Yeah.
It was really coffee.
Really?
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah.
Coffee and I think a pastry.
Did
or
you have one of
something.
the kids with you?
No.
Oh, no,
They were
not that
home.
day.
No.
Yeah.
Well, she was being good. She was having coffee at that point.
Yeah.
I hope there was champagne when this all came together and you saw the first book.
No.
No.
No champagne?
This is our champagne.
Well, I'm glad I poured
This
your
is our
wine
champagne,
tonight.
yeah.
This is your champagne. Well, I am so proud to be your first media stop.
Thank you.
Because with a book like this, I am certainly not going to be your last media stop.
Thank you.
That's
That
for
means a lot.
sure.
Thank you.
There are going to be so many. Now, I see when you get to the end of the book that you have this lovely page that you have. One is a fill in the blank. Thank you for choosing me. And you also have a spot for pictures.
We wanted the book to be as personal as possible. So
Right.
the book I have at home, it has my two children's name, Olivia and Cameron. And at the end, it said, "Thank you for choosing me to be your Grandma Lori." That's what they would have called her.
Right.
So it just really adds
so
another
personal.
level of connection.
You're right. And they did not get to meet her here on Earth, but they have this connection. You know, they can say,
Right.
"Could you read Grandma's book?" And that's Grandma's
Right.
book.
Although at this point, my 3.5-year-old has no interest in this book. You know,
And the
She would-
honesty rears its ugly head.
she would rather read her Disney princess book, but that's
Of
okay.
course she would.
Yeah,
Right.
that's okay. I don't take it personal.
Of course she would. She's a girl, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'll say, because I have a daughter, good luck with that.
One day.
My daughter knows she's the absolute love of my life. But yeah, I'll just say, and now my daughter's 21 and fabulous. But boy, 3.5, that was a fun time.
She's 3.5 going on 13.
Exactly.
For sure, yeah.
And what's the good of 13? Yeah, 3.5 going on
I'm not
13
ready
is
for that.
no great shakes. Yes.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about yourselves. I know you're an art teacher.
I'm an art teacher and an artist.
Okay.
I teach full-time kindergarten through 8th grade in New Haven at Worthington Hooker School. I'm primarily a printmaker, but obviously I've branched out to watercolor
I see
and
that.
painting.
So your artistry outside of teaching has been primarily prints?
Primarily prints, monotypes, woodcuts.
Oh.
But I'm branching out into a lot
I
of
see.
watercolor.
Well, I'm so glad that you
Yes.
dragged her along because
And this is a dream come true
this
for
is
me.
outrageous. These are
thank you.
so beautiful. I can't believe that this is not your usual medium.
It's just for fun.
And that's what makes it great.
Oh my gosh, look at this. Oh my gosh, so beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Yes, I think you need to do more of this. And Jamie, what about yourself? What do you do?
So I am a middle school special ed teacher in Fairfield, Connecticut. And, you know, we bonded at the other middle school that we worked at.
Yeah.
And, you know, I really enjoy teaching. I enjoy the kids I work with. And then I get to go home to my own kids. So it's pretty fun.
Now, after seeing something this beautiful, is there another project in the works between the two of you?
I think
Maybe.
Jamie's got a lot of things rolling
Yeah.
up in her
I
head.
hope so.
Yeah.
I really hope so because this is too beautiful to stop at only one.
Thank you.
We're hoping, yes.
Thank you,
Thank
yeah.
you.
So you have some ideas? Nothing you want to share yet? Yeah.
Well, I have some adult Block Island books that I might like to illustrate.
Oh, okay.
My best friend Tracy is here in the audience, and so we always make fun when we travel, and we call it Travels with Tracy.
Oh.
There's your
I
book.
got to talk to my
And what kind of
business partner.
illustrations are going to go in there?
Oh, yeah. Probably.
Have some wine.
Have
We
some
might not
wine,
be
yeah.
able to talk about that right
We might
now.
not be able to talk
No,
about
that might be an
Probably
after-
a wine glass or two.
Well, Travels with Tracy sounds like quite the travelogue itself, I think. I envision a series there. That's what I'm envisioning.
We can make that happen. We'll make it happen.
And Jamie, what about you? What do you think is next? Well, as a mom of young children, since you wrote this almost as a response to feeling something missing from the children's literature catalog, you would know as a mom of young children when you feel that there's something else missing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we could branch out from this book and kind of extend it in a way. You know, my mother was a very smart woman. She did a lot of things. I mean, she was a single mom raising 2 kids, and she somehow did it. And I would just like to take some of those lessons that she taught us and put them into a book.
Yeah.
Eventually, one day. Yeah.
Well, right now, just ride on the coattails of this fabulous success. But before the gloss has worn off, get that next one coming, because your audience, just like I'm sitting here asking when the next book is coming out, I'm not going to be the only one, because when you do something this beautiful and this fabulous, people are going to want a second. Well, I know what I want. I want an autograph, because if you're going to sit here, please. Have you practiced? Did you, when you first?
We've been asked to autograph books.
You've been. Do you get a nice little signature going?
Mine is not very.
I hear in the royal family that's what they do. When you marry into the royal family, you have to practice your signature.
Oh.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I read it in the paper. It must be true. Okay, we're going to take a short commercial break and be back with our next author while these ladies are signing for me.
Yay.
The sun is getting warmer, but when we soar away among the clouds, the sky is just a border, but when we're floating up like helium.
Do you have a book, either in your head or on your desk, just waiting to get out to anxious readers? Hi, I'm Stephanie Larkin, author, book developer, and head penguin at Red Penguin Books. We're a publishing company specializing in books of all genres and publishing in all formats, including digital, audible, and print books. From business books to romance, memoirs to mysteries, our authors have complete control over their books from start to print. We'll help get your book to booksellers all around. Major booksellers such as Amazon, Apple, Kobo, Walmart, even libraries and bookstores around the world. We believe in our authors. So call or email today to get your free publisher's packet to get started. Just visit us at redpenguinbooks.com and get your book out there and into the hands of your readers. At Red Penguin Books, you call all the shots. So call us today and turn your dreams into a reality. Welcome back to Between the Covers. We're so glad that you're here. And please welcome our next author on a totally different genre than these two lovely ladies. Author of Mercy's First Semester and winner of the Bragg Medallion Honorary Award. Please welcome Mr. William Bunche. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for
and
inviting me.
thank you for wearing a bow tie, just like in your website picture, because I recognized it. You know? I think your author page on Amazon, there you were in a bow tie. You walked into the studio. I said, I know that guy. Are you always in a bow tie?
I try to wear 3 out of 5 days. A week.
3 out of 5 days a week. He's got that whole collection going. Well, before I forget, please have your membership card so you can come by for a glass of wine anytime and borrow books. We have a lot of people who are borrowing books from our Between the Covers library here that we keep books from all of our authors who've been on the show. And I can highly recommend them because I make it a point of reading every single book. Loved your book. Absolutely loved your book. This is the book you wrote. Mercy's First Semester. That's an interesting title considering what it's, and it is about Mercy's first semester, but it's about so much more because you flash backward, you flash forward, you play with time over 20 years?
Yes.
At least going on in the book?
That's correct.
So while the book is chronologically about the first semester of college, it's really about a 20-year time span.
That is correct.
Tell me a little bit about your inspiration. Why did you write it?
I'm a veteran, and I thought that I always meet these different type of veterans with different experiences, and people talk about the journey. Sometimes you talk about combat, but people don't really talk about the journey after you get out of the military, and that really excited me. So I thought that was something that needed to be approached, and I figured I could deal with that a little better. And it was a challenge, too. Plus, I wanted to find a way to help veterans who are struggling with PTSD and people who may know someone, and find a way that we could try to work with that person and kind of quote-unquote minister to the person and try to fill their needs.
Yeah, I really so appreciated that look of really what's going on.
Yes.
And I don't know how much of the personal accounts are things that you were personally involved in, but boy, I felt like I was right there in the middle of a war zone.
Thank you. That's what I try to do, is put you there, take you in that space.
I was there. I was scared, man. I was hiding under the couch, and I was scared.
Thank you.
That's for sure. Tell me about this book award that you won.
The Bragg Medallion is the independent book award for authors who are independently published and self-published. Mm-hmm. And I think it's like 40 different countries. There's a group of writers that choose the book anonymously, and then they rate it. So I got 4 out of 5 stars, and I was surprised. Because when you're writing, you don't know. You write for the craft, but you're not writing for an award. You're just writing to write, and put a good story out there.
Right.
So that's what I did. So I'm very humbled.
Oh,
I'm very humbled
fantastic!
that someone else liked my book besides me. Thank you.
Absolutely. Can you tell our audience a little? I'll say a little synopsis of the book. And I think we have a slide that goes along that's going to have a cover and such.
Sure. It's a story about a young man who is an immigrant who comes to this country with parents who are very religious, and he decides not to follow his parents' wishes, and he ends up dropping out of high school. And to save himself, he enlists in the army. And it was a situation where it was either he was going to go to jail or go to or be dead, because he's making a lot of bad choices.
Yeah.
And he went to the military, and he's a guy that went to church on a regular basis. So at age 10, he's reading, preaching as a young man. At age 19, he's completing sniper school.
Right.
So it's a big transition as to what can go on when you make these different choices. So now he's basically, after he's gone to war, he's been wounded, I've served in 2 tours, he's now trying to reintegrate back into society.
And that's a problem for a lot of our veterans.
Yes.
Reintegrating after they've seen the horror and held the guns and had to do things that we can't even imagine.
Yes. So it was a challenge, but I think we need to see. It's great to be Veterans Day, Memorial Day. Thanks for your service. Those are great things. However, I think it's another step we need to take.
I think you're right.
So that we can make sure that we do what we're supposed to do, and make them really feel like they're appreciated.
Yeah.
So that's why.
Now, as a veteran, you wrote the book hoping to shed a light on PTSD, which is huge because, I thought I knew a lot of things.
Yes.
And then I would read and say, I had no idea that's what it was really like. So certainly that's something that I really recommend, because I think you're absolutely right. We see veterans at Veterans Day and we just say, yeah, good for you. There you are, wrap yourself in the flag. But we don't know what it was really like, and you really, wow. What else can we do?
I say try to get to know them. Hey, how you doing? What did you do? What did you serve? And I think just ask them what they did. And some are going to tell you more than they'd like to because they're very genuinely interested. Someone's interested in what they did.
Right.
And some of them may not tell you anything because they've done some things that they are still coping with.
I bet.
But I think trying to get to know them, asking them where they travel, those type of things. And then once you open the door, you could ask them too, if you see them struggling too, well, what can I do for you?
Right.
I think those are the two key things. So get to know them and then ask them if there's anything I can do, and I think take it from there and then see what happens and see what doors open. Because every soldier is different and our experiences are unique. And we're so diverse. So each one has a different story. So,
the veteran suicide rate in our country is staggering.
yes.
Absolutely staggering. It's
Yes.
22
A day. That's
a
right.
day,
That's correct.
which is just horrifying.
That is correct.
Is there anything that we can do? Pray for them, be there for them, learn more about them.
I don't know. I mean, I really don't have an answer. I mean, actually, there are a couple of things you could do as well. There are organizations that help deal with the spouses and the children.
Okay.
I think there's one, Golden Corral has one called, I can't think of the name of it now, but it's a camp Camp Corral, that's what it's called.
Okay.
Where the camps are for the children whose parents are deployed, but also, these kids get to be around other kids who are going through what they're going through. And there's
Right.
another organization called, I think it's called Household 6, where they're focusing on the spouses and the children. So you're trying to look at the whole family.
Right.
So those are two avenues that we probably don't think about. The veterans, we think
think you're
about
right.
the children, and then we think about
Yeah.
the spouses.
Right.
So those are two organizations I've worked that I know. And then there's another organization called 22 Too Many, where
That is too. 22 is way too many. You're
no,
right.
so they've raised awareness about suicide, so PTSD in soldiers. So there's various organizations out here that help, and just do your homework because there's some organizations that may be a little more questionable,
I understand that.
but they're there.
Could you do something for me? On our television show website,
Sure.
I have links to all of our authors, all of your books, etc. Would you send me some links to reputable places
Most definitely.
that are supportive of our veterans
Most
and the
definitely.
fight against suicide? And I would like to put those links on our website.
I can clear it.
And
Yes.
I certainly would trust you knowing, like you just said, you have to check out.
You do, because I participated in a couple of them that were I didn't know and didn't do my homework before. I was just excited, and
I
then
get
come
that.
to find out they were not as reputable.
Yeah, and I don't want to be putting something out there that's not helping.
Okay.
Right.
I want to be part of the solution, not
Most
part of the
definitely.
problem.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
Now, such an amazing writer. This is your first book?
Yes, it is.
Wow.
Yes, it is. Yes, thank you.
You hit it out of the park the first time.
I'm trying. I try to do my best. That's all I can
Well,
do.
like I asked the girls, is there another one? And please say yes.
Yes, there is. I'm working on the second novel now, and
Is it very different than this?
it's different, totally
Okay.
different, totally different. It's more on gene editing, more sci-fi.
Oh,
To give you some, the premise is that if we knew we had a disease that was inherited, and you could change the outcome of that disease for your children, what would you do to prevent that? Some people will probably
had
say,
to
well,
do.
I would adopt. I don't want to have any kids. I don't want to mess around with scientists. Others will say, well, I have a lot of money. So I'd like to experiment. And then also in the wrong hands, what could happen?
right.
So I'm
Right.
pursuing all of these different things
Right.
that have these different challenges, from a sociological perspective, from a medical perspective. And that's what I thought would be interesting, because we have so many diseases that we've lost loved ones. And if we could prevent
Yeah.
losing another person from cancer,
Wow.
what would we do? So that's my goal.
All right, well, you've got a whole audience here who's dying to read that next book. So now you got to do it.
All right, well, thank you. I need the pressure.
No pressure. No pressure. But I'm going to schedule your appearance here holding up your new book.
Okay,
so you got to
thank
do
you.
that.
Most definitely.
Well, come back after this commercial because we have an author who's on for the second time because he did write that second book.
Awesome.
So come right back.
All right.
Could you sign a...
That's right, keep it going, keep it going. That's right, keep it going, keep it going.
Welcome back. Welcome back to Between the Covers. Thank you. I told you we had quite the night tonight and quite the gamut of authors. Our next author is a returning guest. He was on with us once before for a novel that he wrote, and now he's on to scare the pants off of us with a nonfiction book. So please welcome Mr. William McGee.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Good to see you.
Do you have a card already, or should I? I'll give you another one. You'll take another one, you know, if he's going to keep coming back.
Two cards, right?
2 books, 2 cards.
That's
2
right.
books, 2 cards. The last time you were on was this beautiful novel that's a recent write, and also a semifinalist in a novelist competition, Half the Child. Such a good book that my dad took home a copy, because you can borrow books from our Between the Covers library here. My dad took home a copy and just read it and returned it tonight. So we have another fan here.
Great. Thank you.
And he's our show's biggest fan. If you hear applause, it's my dad. Trust me. But you mentioned to me, I wrote another book, and now that I read it, I may have to take road trips. So attention all passengers, the airline's dangerous descent and how to reclaim our skies. Now this comes from the hands of experience and knowledge. Tell us a little bit about your background, because it's huge.
Sure. Well, in one way or another, I've been involved in aviation for a long time. I worked in the airline industry for many years. I was in the Air Force Auxiliary for a few years. But for most of the last 25 years or so, I've been a journalist for Consumer Reports and USA Today and other places, focusing on airlines and aviation safety. And this book is sort of a culmination of many years of research and investigation. But what I'm most proud about, Attention All Passengers, is there's a lot of journalism that is sort of based on talking to public relations people and executives and senior people in the government. And this is really a product of speaking to people in the front lines. Mechanics, flight attendants, FAA inspectors, pilots, all of the people that actually work in the industry. And many of them are very distressed about some of the trend lines that are happening right now in airlines.
I'll bet. I asked you to be our last author on just because then we'd all be out here, because I dare say that every one of our authors, we've all flown.
Yes.
And maybe comfortably and maybe fearfully, but
Well, the fact that you squeezed us into basic economy.
okay. How can I turn down so much talent on one show? But yes, I flew to London like this, so all you have is another half hour on the show. I mean, hey. But yes, it is true that they've added more seats.
Yes, and I was one of the first people to do research on that, where we actually did dig out from the old files at Consumer Reports to see what legroom and what the width of seats was 25 years ago. It's not a myth. Don't listen to the liars in the airline industry that tell you that it hasn't happened. It has shrunk. Of course, Americans are getting larger at the same time.
I was going to say that. That's part of
but the numbers don't lie.
So the seats are getting smaller and the passengers are getting larger. It's
Right.
just not a good mix.
Right.
Wow.
We even went so far as to do research on buttock sizes across the world. And America is, in fact, number one.
Are we the number
Wow.
one buttock
Yes.
size in the world?
Yes, I think Japan came in last, but USA, number one.
Japan is the tiniest.
But the point of Attention All Passengers really is that everywhere I go, when I say anything about the airlines, people are saying things like you. They're saying the seats are getting tighter, and you pay for meals and all of this cost cutting. And really, my question is, if all of this cost cutting that you see is taking place, aren't you concerned that perhaps there's some cost cutting behind the scenes
that's a
that
huge
is much,
point.
much more serious?
You're absolutely right. You're right.
And that's what this book is
I
about.
realize we don't get peanuts anymore, but does that also mean that
Well,
they
the
didn't
same
inflate
same
price?
mindset that says, well, let's charge for peanuts, or let's cram another 2 inches of take away another 2 inches of legroom. That same mindset is now saying, well, why should we pay for licensed mechanics, who go through drug and alcohol screening and go through security screening here in the United States? Why should we pay to have them fix the planes and maintain the planes, when perhaps we could send them to El Salvador, or Mexico, or the Philippines, or China? Not any knock on any of those countries or the people that live there, but the fact is it's circumventing the FAA regulations.
Right.
And even though in theory the FAA rules are that there's one standard, no matter where the work is done for U.S. airlines, the The reality, as the book shows, from me speaking to dozens and dozens and dozens of mechanics and FAA inspectors, the reality is we now have two sets of rules. And when the work is not done where the FAA can keep an eye on it, it's pretty scary, because unlicensed mechanics, in many cases, they haven't gone through any kind of security screening or drug and alcohol screening. And so who's minding the planes?
Wow.
And when you talk about security, when I talk to the real security experts, I'm talking about the dark ops type of people that really know what they're talking about. They sort of laugh, because if you were to Google airline security, I think probably 98% of what you'll find has to do with the kabuki that we all do going through the airport, that we're all familiar with, taking off our shoes and our belts and all of that stuff, and 5 ounces of shampoo or 8 ounces of shampoo. And I'm not saying that that's not important, but the experts that I talk to say, while all that is happening and all that focus is on the front end of the airport, where's the airplane been? Well, maybe this morning that airplane was in El Salvador at a maintenance facility there that actually does maintenance for many major U.S. airlines. Who was minding it there? Who was making sure that that aircraft wasn't being tinkered with in any way? So you have maintenance issues, you have safety issues, you also have security issues. The cost cutting that that is leading to deep vein thrombosis because you have a tray table in your knees. It extends to things that are much more serious than that, and that's what Attention All Passengers is about.
Wow.
It's I'll admit it's a scary read. I've had some people say to me that, in fact, there's even a section of a chapter in there that deals with fear of flying. Because I've had people in my life, friends, who have said to me, I can't read it. When we had a book party for Attention All Passengers, a close friend of mine came up and said, Bill, I'm not going to be able to read the whole thing. And I said, well, you can buy 2 and don't read either one.
You can buy as many as you want and don't read them. It's
as long as you buy it, So I can point out which chapters to avoid for those that are really fearful.
Well, when you first gave me a copy of the book, I was going away on a short vacation. And
bad timing.
Yeah. Well, luckily I was driving. So it's
Okay.
like, I'm driving. It's okay. I could read this book on vacation.
Okay.
But now, as I often, do you ever have that experience of saying to a doctor, so if your wife or something was sick, what medicine? Let's ask Bill. So, do you fly?
All the time.
What airline?
There's a notification, an author's note, right at the front of the book behind the dedication to my son. And it basically says that I don't have any frequent flyer mileage in any airline. I don't belong to any program. I don't accept free trips from airlines. I don't have stock in airlines. And basically, I just look at it as my job to fly them all, to experience them all.
Right.
So I fly on all of them, but I have no dog in the race, as they say.
Yes.
Oh, no favorites.
So, well, he's not getting paid to have a favorite, which is very admirable, and I think it's a great thing to be able to say in a book like this.
Well, you'd be shocked how many journalists do accept free trips from airlines and then go on to write about them. So,
right. Well, you had a
just
section
want to be
here
upfront about that.
talking about which types of travel agencies that, for the most part, travel agencies were no longer given commissions on airline tickets, but unless they were. Some of the larger ones still were, and when you go online or something and you see the pricing, you're not seeing everything that you think you're seeing. You're, of course, seeing them in a certain order based on kickbacks to the mothership kind of a thing.
It's very much, the Wizard of Oz. Pay no attention to the man behind the screen. When you're on a travel site and you're looking for flights, you really don't know why it is that the algorithms are pushing certain airlines over others, and there's so much complexity that goes on that we'll never know. A lot of it is proprietary agreements. So, in 19 years of analyzing travel sites for Consumer Reports now, our advice has not changed. We always say the same thing. We quote Smokey Robinson, and we say, "You better shop around." There's no silver bullet. There's no one site that will always,
Okay, is it true about booking online on a Tuesday because all the new flights are going up and you'll get the best deals?
It is and it isn't. What I always do is I sort of step back from that and say, isn't this a bizarre industry where you even need to have a sub-industry, a cottage industry of people that tell you what time to buy?
Right, that's true.
Do you say, well, I really want to get a quart of milk. Should I do it Wednesday at 6 p.m. or should I wait till Thursday? I need new shoes. I better wait until the weekend.
No, it is crazy.
It's really a bizarre industry in many ways. And the fact that we're all sort of, many of us have become our own travel agents now without having the knowledge of a real good travel agent. And there are still some good ones out there. That just speaks to, this complexity.
It is. It's very complex. I've booked for my own family. We have flown out of Philadelphia instead of New York because it was cheaper. We have flown to the wrong city in Europe for sure because definitely check around because there's a very big difference between, Milan and Florence or by hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Days of the week that you fly on. I mean, it's huge.
I have a story in the book about when I worked at an airline that's no longer alive at JFK Airport called Tower Air.
Oh, sure.
We referred to it as Terra Air internally.
Oh, God.
We once had the bag tags for like 500 passengers, the incorrect code. So instead of CIA for Ciampino Airport in Rome, it was CAI as in Cairo. So a little mix up there.
Any of you ever lose a bag? Or, well, you didn't lose the bag. The airline didn't get the bag to you?
Thankfully, no.
Never?
Never. Nope.
It happened to me going to London last year. And I was so annoyed because I generally don't bring luggage. I travel very, very light. Just bag over my shoulder. And I was going to London to visit my daughter for a week. And she had so much stuff that I said, you know what? I'm allowed a bag. It's an international flight. I'm allowed a bag. Right. I'm going to bring an empty suitcase. And I'm going to take half of your stuff home with me because you've been. She was there for months.
Right.
So I went to the airport with an empty suitcase, and then I had my own little knapsack on.
Right.
So I was waiting online to check my bag, and I said, well, this is kind of dumb that I'm going to walk through this whole airport with this thing on my shoulder. Let me shove it into the empty suitcase. And then I said, gosh, I'm getting hot just standing here on the line. Let me take off my coat and put it in the empty suitcase. No. So I got onto the flight to London with my pocketbook. That was it.
You had your passport, I hope.
I had my passport. I had my pocketbook. I got onto the flight.
Yeah.
The bag did not make it. Supposedly it went to, Heathrow instead of Gatwick. If that was the truth, why it took them 3 days to get it to me is beyond me. I had nothing. Not a stitch of anything. Because that was the way my mind was. Oh, God, I'm getting tired of carrying this around. Let me throw it in the empty suitcase. Right. So I went to London with a purse for 3 days.
You had a shopping experience.
I had to go shopping the first night.
First thing is buy a bag. Yeah.
And that was British, British Airways.
Right.
Wow.
So it can happen to any of us.
Sure.
Now that we have a travel expert, any questions for our travel expert from our audience or from our guests here? I already asked about the Tuesday thing about booking the tickets, but how many weeks in advance should we book?
Again, there was for every person that gives you some go-to advice, like it should be 21 days, 21 days in advance. The airlines generally priced by 7 days, 14 days, 21 days in advance. But, the conventional wisdom that says, book in advance, you also, depending on the flight, depending on the day of the week, depending on the airline, there will be what they call distressed inventory, and there'll be seats that they want to get rid of at the last minute.
Right.
So, it's hard enough for people that do this for a living to find those ways, and the fact that we're all sort of our own, just like we're our own tellers and we're our own gas station attendants now. And then, and I've had people come up to me 1,000 times at parties and things like, I swear by, website A or airline, and I'm like, oh, that's good until it doesn't,
Until it doesn't, exactly.
And so, there is no silver bullet. I can guarantee you that. We've spent 19 years. I've done tests with 35 people at once, all simultaneously, looking for the same fares. Wow. And, we always get different results.
Wow.
We never say, this is the site for you. So,
so never say never. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Sure.
I forget which airline, but I just read where one airline is actually looking to expand the width of the seats.
Is that true?
Well, they're constantly tinkering with these things. But the bottom line is, for U.S. carriers and domestic, we're talking about, there's usually a little more room on aircraft that are flying internationally. For domestic airlines, it's going in the wrong direction, I guarantee you. It's all, it's getting tighter. Right. And, I joked about basic economy before. Now, most of the major airlines now, American, United, Delta, a couple of others, Alaska, they have these, new products called basic economy, where in some cases you can't even bring a carry-on bag with you.
That's right.
The seats are tighter than they've ever been. You're the last to board, the last to get off, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And really what it is when you talk to the analysts, it's not about, these are really crappy products, okay? And what it's about is it's upselling. It's like bringing someone into a showroom because you put a big sign in the window that, the car is this much, and say, yeah, but you don't want to drive that car. You want to drive this car. And that's what they're doing. So they're getting you to go to their site because you see a thing that says, oh, $119. And then you're like, oh, because there's actually a warning when you go on, to book basic economy. And it's sort of like the old maps that say, beyond this place there be dragons,
Right.
It says, are you sure you want to book? Now, think about that a moment. What kind of company says to you, you sure you want to buy our crappy product?
That's right.
All right, so flyers beware. That's the moral of the story. Flyers beware. We're going to take a short break and then find out what our authors are reading nowadays. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Me llaman Dan Pablo y hace más de 20 años me enamoré de una colombiana. Viajé a su país y conocí un estilo de café muy distinto, muy especial. Ahora tostamos cafés excelentes, con alturas y microclimas diferentes, resultado en una taza muy compleja y muy rica. Un sabor nuevo en el mundo. Fue un éxito. And I even got to keep the girl.
Welcome back to Between the Covers. Hey. Will brought a book with him to recommend to us, and it was one that I have not yet read, Life of Pi. I don't know if you've read the book or seen the movie, and you're saying now you thought the movie actually...
I thought the movie was actually better than the book.
Wow, and for an author to say that.
I did enjoy the book, but what happened is I thought there was a lot of extra information in the book that probably slowed it down.
Gotcha.
It was just, there was these information, what do they call it? Information dumps? That's what it was, right?
That does happen.
Yeah, so that was the only thing, but it was still a great book. But
right, well, I'm going to check it out, book or movie.
Yes.
But let's take one last greet with our authors. Tell us, remind us where we can find your book, and Jamie and Judie?
We're on butterflywingspublishing.com, and we're hoping to be on Amazon in just a short while.
Fantastic. And Love from Above. Thank you so much for your beautiful work. Thank you. Well, where can we find your book?
Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, Kobo, and also you can find them in stores, in the Barnes & Noble stores as well.
Fantastic. Congratulations. And yes, great book. And do look at our website. We'll send me those links for veteran sites as well.
Definitely.
Bill?
10 General Passengers, a nonfiction book, is on Amazon, print, Kindle, and audio.
Yes. Oh, audio. I didn't realize it was on audio.
Nice.
Good.
And Half the Child is on Amazon in print and Kindle. That's the novel about a father and a son.
Not an audio version of this yet.
Not yet.
Not yet, but soon. Well, this is pretty new.
Right. I'm starting a lecture series at LIU here on Long Island University, at the Hutton House Lectures to talk about it, so that'll be fun.
Fantastic. Please send me some information so I can put it on the website. Please visit us at BetweenTheCoversTV.com. Links to all of their books. Sign up for our book club. That will also get you information about our authors, both past and future. Thanks for joining us, and keep on reading. Yay!